Welcome to episode 186 of the Startup Show. Today we have a very special guest, the chairman of LVMH Watch Division, Jean-Claude Biver. We're talking about the love for business. We're talking about the future of the Swiss luxury watch industry. And we talk a lot about how Jean-Claude Biver is supporting the next generation and what advice he gives to all of us out there. Make sure you stay tuned for the whole video. Welcome to episode 186 of the Startup Show. Today I have a very special guest here at the studio and I'm very excited to meet with Jean-Claude Biver, who is the chairman of LVMH. Welcome to the show. I'm really excited. Just give you two disclaimers. Number one, I really want to thank the community for helping me to get this interview, which was really helpful. We posted it within a couple of hours. We had over 10,000 views and a direct connection to you. So thank you very much for agreeing to this interview. And number two, I mean, you've been on my bucket list of people to interview on my show. So I'm very excited about that. It took about 2 years to get you here and to get your attention. So thank you very much for that.
Did you try to get me during 2 years?
Yes.
And
yes.
I always said no. Or what?
No, I did not ever get a reply.
But how did you get? How did you communicate with me? Email?
We tried several emails.
Email. I always answer.
Okay, no, I'm not saying I didn't answer. Maybe it was cleared out before you even saw it. I don't know.
No.
Anyhow, you've been on my radar for over 2 years, and for a long time, I'm really inspired by your work and your passion for creating new things. We have a tradition on the Startup Show that the first part is that our guests introduce themselves for a minute. So maybe Mr. Biver, take it away. Give everybody a quick introduction about your life.
Okay, my name is Jean-Claude Biver. I'm in my 71st year. I'm born in 49. I've been 45 years in the watch business. I started at Audemars Piguet in 1974. I had a career, 45 years in the same business. The highlights is maybe Blancpain, which I bought in 1981, which I restructured. I bought it from nothing, 22,000 Swiss francs, because there was nothing left, just the name. No factory, no relations, no nothing, no watchmakers, no collection. The company went out of business in 1960. So we bought it 21 years after it had gone out of business. Another highlight might be when I sold the company to Swatch Group and I took care of Omega marketing, Omega product. I brought Cindy Crawford in. I brought James Bond on board. I brought Michael Schumacher on board and reanimated the NASA contract, the moon. Later on in 2004, I left Swatch Group and I bought a stake of the shares of Hublot, which was doing 26 million turnover in 2004, which is now close to 1 billion. These are more or less the highlights. Presently, my responsibility, I am, or let's say, chairman of the LVMH Watch Division. In a few days, I will be out of business totally because I have decided I would retire end of 2019, and then I will see. I have a few projects. It's too early to reveal them,
yes.
But that's my presentation.
So, I mean, we've discussed with a couple of people kind of from my audience, what they would like to hear. And one of the topics that came up a lot of times is your energy, your motivation, and your youthful approach to kind of still build things, let's say, even in a later stage of life. What is it kind of that keeps you going? Where did you get this energy from?
First, I get the energy from the body. The body is very good with me. My body helps me, my body gives me health, my body gives me energy, my body gives me reactivity. My body is important. Number two, my heart. I am a passionate. If you have a passion or love gives energy. Number three, I have an environment with my family which is very harmonic, and harmony brings also strength. So harmony, family, passion, and strong body. Those are probably the 4 elements that are crucial. But there is some more. More is also my people. The people are bringing me energy. You know, when you talk with somebody or when you share, you get the energy of the people. And I have very energetic people around myself. And I have people around myself that are all better than me. When I was at school, I worked very badly, and the teacher said to me, if one day you have a responsibility in business, I hope you will take better people than yourself.
Yes. Yes.
Which I did, and it's a very good recommendation.
So one of the things you also talk about it in your book is the connection between love and business.
Yes.
How you keep up this love for the watch industry and like creating these new turnarounds of all of these different. Brands?
I'm passionate about watches and brands. I love product. I buy watches. I'm one of the rare CEOs, I would say, that is buying watches from the other brands. I buy from Patek, I buy from AP. So I am interested in watches. Wherever, it doesn't matter the brand. When I like it, I don't care what's the brand. I just want to buy it or to put it in my collection. That is a big difference with many other CEOs that can be in the watch business today, and in 2024, they might be in the champagne business, and in 2031, they might be CEO at Ferrari, whatever. They are changing the jobs. I never changed from my passion. And I decided my passion is watches. I will never work in another field. That's a privilege also which I have, that I'm able to work in my passion.
Sure. I mean, like, what would you say? I mean, like you said before about like, you surround yourself with the people who are better than you, but how do you keep them motivated? How do you
keep them motivated by sharing, If you share your mistakes, if you share your visions, if you share your hope, if you share your success, if you share your doubts, if you share your failures, that makes people to stay with you, to trust you, because they see, hey, this guy is sharing. He shares also his mistakes. He shares his failures. He shares his knowledge. He shares his vision. He shares his success. The sharing process is very important. Then you have another element is you must forgive. Nobody, but there's nobody in the world that can build something up without doing mistakes on the way. And every mistake is a step that brings you further to success. It's like a stair, You must accept the mistakes. If you don't accept the mistakes, then people will stop to be dynamic. People will be afraid to do a mistake. Then they do nothing. They just wait for instructions. So I want entrepreneurs. If you want entrepreneurs, you must let them do mistakes. And you must forgive the mistakes. You have only one right, I would say. Don't forgive 2 times the same mistake, because then the guy cannot improve.
Yes.
And number 3, you must respect people. The respect is a very important element. Whatever I can do, I will not ask other people to do, because I know my health is better than many. I know my will is stronger than many. I know my resistance, my resilience, my motivation is better than others. So why should I ask the same? I ask for each one to do its best. But its best doesn't mean do like me. If I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, I will not ask my people to get up at 3. If some want to get up at 3, okay, why not? So I respect people. I respect talents. For instance, we respect women. We have 47% women. How do we respect women in our company, for instance? Not by giving just the same salary. That seems obvious. I mean, I cannot even imagine paying different salaries for the same task. If it's a man or a woman, it should be the same. But in addition, the respect means we have built a kindergarten. And building a kindergarten in your factory helps, of course, women who work there to bring the baby. They leave the baby on the floor, and she goes then on the third level and she works. She can go then have lunch with him, the baby, and then she leaves at 4 o'clock with the baby. That is respect. I respect women and their problems when they have a baby and work at the same time. So we have built a kindergarten. Mm-hmm. If your management is based on I respect, I forgive, and I share, why should people leave? Mm-hmm. That is why I have people with me that came. The oldest one joined me in 79, and the youngest one from the team joined me in 94 or 93. So that gives you a base of people around yourself that is so strong and stable, the same people. We talk with the eyes. We don't need to write PV, you know, we just talk, bam, and each one trusts each one, and then it's quite efficient.
Mm-hmm. If you have to pinpoint some of the values you have while building these companies, what would be those values?
The first value is be careful. Don't put your signature on the brand, because maybe you are the boss of the brand, but the real boss, the king, is the brand, and you must serve the king. Which means before I do anything on the brand, I have to go down to the history of the brand. I have to discover its DNA. I have to discover the secrets of the brand. And then I have to project and say, okay, how would this brand have evolved if it would have been active, for instance, for Blancpain? Because it had disappeared from the market from 1960 to 1981, so we went down to the roots, and so I would say my first rule is: if you are the CEO of a luxury brand, you must serve the brand, and not serve your career, not serve your ego, not serve your power, not serve your success. Your success means the success of the brand. Yeah. And in addition, your success means the success of the brand and the evolution and success of the people. If you achieve this, then you have served the brand. But if at the end your name is better known than the brand, and the day you leave, the brand collapses, what's the sense? Yes. So I think rule number one is to respect the brand. But to respect the brand, you must understand the brand. I used to say we have to go to the cemetery where all the watchmakers are buried that have worked in the company since 1865. And maybe during the night, they can tell us what happened. They can give us advice. They can tell us, listen, I died 55 years ago. If I would be alive, that's what I would do, Mr. Biver. And then another guy says, hey, I died 100 years ago. That's what I would do. So go to the cemetery, listen to all these people that have devoted time, love, passion, excellency to the brand. And they might give you some advice. You really, the king is the brand. And you are here to serve the king.
Now, when you look at, let's say, one of these big turnarounds, such as Blancpain or Hublot, what would you say was the aspect of, let's say, the marketing aspect and also like the design? How did you combine all of this together? Did you say okay, we are able to actually execute and make it big?
First, you must find what is the message of the brand. What's the fundamental message of Blancpain? It's to represent the reference of the art of making watches. As a consequence, if that's the message, as a consequence, you can do no quartz. Oh yes, why? Because quartz is not art, it's technology. So you must stick to watchmaking art. You cannot make another watch than round shape. Why round? I can make square, I can make rectangular. No, round, because round is the reference for watches. All the watches on the churches or on the railway stations or any watch a child designs is always round. So round is the reference. If you are the reference, you cannot go in fashion, because the reference is something that that is valid today, but also tomorrow, whatever fashion goes up or down, the reference stays. If your message is the art of fusion, like for Hublot, you cannot make a watch that is just in gold and that's it. Where's the fusion? Ah, shit, yeah, I forgot the fusion. So you have to combine, or you have to invent a new gold, like our magic gold. The message gives you the direction. And once you have the direction, then you can design. And then the design must be coherent with the message. The design must explain already the message. It's like if you have a religion, the way the priest is dressed, already you can say, ah, he's a Catholic. Oh no, he's Orthodox. Oh no, he's Muslim. You can say, because the religion has a certain identity. So you must find the identity that matches the message. So number one, define or find, if the brand didn't have any, find a message. Number two, make a product that represents the message, that tells immediately, oh, that's fusion. Oh, that's a reference. That is, for me, the rule how to proceed.
Now, I mean, like the watch industry has been like in some turmoil in the last few years. I mean, like the new players coming in, specifically tech companies who also want to be like on the wrist of people. And like you said, like round, but like if you look at the latest watches, they are square, especially
Yes.
the smartwatches. What would you say? I mean, like how do you feel like, let's say, you can keep the young generation interested in luxury watches?
You know, I think the first of all, the connected watch, or the most well-known, is the Apple Watch. I bought already the 4th or 5th one. I buy every time the new version. The Apple Watch is just a genius product. I mean, it's phenomenal. You would have said 20 years to somebody that one day there would be a little computer on your wrist that can do this. You can even watch the Masters in London yesterday on your watch. I mean, people would have said, "Are you crazy? That will never exist." So it's a genius product. Now, what is not so genius? I think everything is genius except one element. The watch one day will be obsolete. I cannot tell you when, but I know it will be obsolete. It means one day the watch will die, and one day the watch will be not useful anymore. You can put it in a museum maybe, or in your private collection to show in 120 years that was the Apple Watch of 2019. What is very positive, they put 30 million Apple Watches on wrist of people. Now, if you put every year 30 million watches on the wrist of people, it's far easier for us to sell an expensive, high-quality Swiss watch to somebody that has already worn a watch, rather than somebody that never had a watch in 45 years. To convince this guy
It's much easier.
It's much easier when he has worn an Apple. So Apple helps us to promote the fact to wear a watch. As we, the Swiss, the higher level, we represent probably 80% of the Swiss exports turnover, is done by people who sell watches average 3,000 Swiss francs and more. At this price level, we are working with eternity. It means you take an Omega watch, the watch that was on the moon, let's say. Armstrong or the family sold the watch that Armstrong had on the moon, wearing it, bam. Does it work today? Yes. Does it work as well as when Armstrong went to the moon? Of course. You have Big Ben in London. Does it still work after 158 years? Yes, of course. It means our art, the watchmaking art, is eternal. While the technology art of Apple is not eternal, because one day there will be improvement and it will make your Apple Watch obsolete to a degree that you want to buy the new one. which happened to me. I bought 4 generations already. So, does eternity have a competitor? No. There is no, I don't know who can compete eternity. You can say, yes, God. Okay, God is eternal, I know. But we are not competing with God. So you see, mechanical, Swiss, high quality watchmaking art has no competition because it's eternal. And we are the answer to obsolescence. And all the products we are environed, our bike, our car, whatever, our refrigerator, our TV set, our computer, everything that is around us will become obsolete. And there is only one thing that connects you to eternity, that's art. The art of Picasso, the art of Jeff Koons, whatever. And, of course, the watchmaking art, because watchmaking is also an art. Mm-hmm. So you see, we are in a position where we can only get advantage from Apple because they promote to wear a watch. Mm-hmm. They promote that with a watch you can swim. They promote the fact that a watch can be colorful. They promote the etc. So this promotion is extraordinarily positive for us because if they sell 30 million pieces, there must be 1% of these people who one day want to buy a real and a good and an eternal Swiss high-quality watch.
I want to dig a little bit deeper about this customer influence, because again, like what you said before is like you first have to decide the brand image and then go from there. But like nevertheless, like a lot of time when you talk in startup development and lean startup management, you always go reverse engineer. You say, well, what does the consumer want, and then you define all the rest. So how do you kind of like make sure that like your products are really wanted by the consumer, specifically focusing on, let's say, the young generation?
You see, for instance, yes, when we said Hublot is the art of fusion, Hublot is the contrast between the past and the future. That was very accepted because the trend was going to streetwear, guided by Hiroshi Fujiwara from Japan, and we said, but if that's valid for fashion, we could eventually go also in that direction with our watches. We should make out of the art of fusion, out of Hublot, a watch that connects to the taste, to the visions, to the dreams, to the desire of the new generation, of the millenniums. This is why we followed the millenniums. Wherever the millenniums were going, we said we have to be there. Millenniums are going into basketball, we are in basketball. Millenniums are going into football, we are in football. Millenniums are going into rap music, we go into rap music, etc. So we followed millenniums wherever they were in order to tell these people, your lifestyle, we are part of your lifestyle. We are not just a watch, we belong to your lifestyle. Boom, boom, boom. So we followed the lifestyle of people. Wherever these people were going, they would see us. And if they see us in any activity they do, or any art in which they are, they will start to believe, hey, this brand is part of our lifestyle. And then you don't need to sell. Yes. The watch is sold. We want to be the Swiss high-quality watch brand for the future, for modernity, not for this very old tradition. Because we believed that millenniums, when they buy old tradition, they buy vintage, and they don't want to have the watch of their father and mothers on the wrist. They want to have their generation on the wrist. That's why you have so much success on Daytona steel, or Patek Philippe Nautilus steel, or Royal Oak steel, or Richard Mille, or Hublot. These are the 5 brands that raised the interest of the millenniums. And that was our strategy, to be different, to be the luxury brand that disrupts the traditional luxury that is very often linked to the past. And we wanted to be linked to the future.
So when you look at, say, at the Swiss luxury watch industry and you connect it with the innovation, what would you say is kind of like the upcoming years? Because you kept saying, you know, like we want to be eternity, but we want to have the tradition, we want to have like this same kind of like framework of watches. Now, but like, how do you bring in the innovation? I
think the innovation in a watch is, of course, in a mechanical watch, is somehow limited.
Yes.
Because it's always tick tack, tick tack, tick tack, and you have two hands or more, and you indicate time. So innovation can be material. You have Hublot watches in carbon that retail for 50, 100, or 200,000. You have Hublot watches in transparent sapphire. You have Richard Mille watches in transparent sapphire that cost 1 million. So we are using today materials that are going to the moon. Innovation can be in the material. That's why we have at Hublot a very important metallurgy department. Innovation can be in the weight. We have now watches having a weight of 18, 20 grams, the whole watch. It's more expensive to make an ultralight watch than to make a heavy platinum watch. Innovation can be in the colors. We are making transparent watches, we are making red ceramic watches. In the movement itself, you can also have innovations, but they are less spectacular because at the end of the day, you have two hands that they must indicate that it's now 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock.
And how would you say you prepare these businesses now for the next coming 10 years? What is kind of like your strategy to make sure you stay relevant?
Oh, it's R&D. Short-term R&D is, by definition, is quite long-term. And we are working on new materials. We are working on transparent materials. You know, a transparent steel would be great. A transparent titanium would be great.
So if anybody out there knows something like this.
I think in 10 years we might have it, or a transparent gold. Gold that is transparent, you know. It seems absurd, but it's not so absurd. One day we will see probably materials, solid materials, that can let light come through.
Yes.
So there are a lot of researches being done in that direction.
Yes. I mean, like one of the last questions before we go into the next part is, you know, one of the key things is the secondary market where people are selling the watches that they buy firsthand from you. What would you say, like, how can tech help to make sure that these companies are not like selling? I mean, I give you a buzzword and you can tell me if it's relevant to you. It's called blockchain, where you can really give the certificates.
Blockchain is genius. But most of the second-hand watches have no blockchain because a second-hand watch is probably a watch that is at least a year old. And a year ago, there were no Swiss watch brand with blockchain.
So you're using it now?
We had our first a Bitcoin watch that we sold only through Bitcoin. You could not buy it in cash. It was a limited edition, and it was blockchain. That was a test. Somehow we sold the whole lot. I think it was 100 or 200 watches in China 4-6 months ago. As it was very successful, now we go on, and I'm a very strong believer in blockchain. Because the new generation, they want information, they want transparency, they want authenticity, they want security. And all this is provided easily by blockchain. Mm-hmm. So blockchain is really the answer. And I think the millenniums, they will impose products to be blockchain.
Yes. Let's talk a little bit about everything you do for the next generation. I mean, you're very involved. You were once, some of your engagements I was able to figure out. One is called, you were a jury member of the New Generation Award from Vive Clicker.
Yes.
And he just like one of the questions kind of like, how do you personally feel like you can support the young generation, like let's say the outside of the watch industry?
You know, I give a lot of conferences. I gave a conference last Friday to the University Zurich. Wednesday, I give a conference at the Harvard Business School every year. I go to ETH in Zurich, also Zurich University, ETH. I go to St. Gallen. I do about 60 conferences in different universities all over the planet, to Cambridge, to London Business School, etc. So I already distributed about 100,000 books to these young students. I think through my conferences and my way of explaining how you can do business, what is the moral attitude, what should be your ethics, why is money not absolutely necessary, why you can also succeed with a little money, what you have to behave, how do you behave versus people. As I said before, if you want to have people, take only people that are better than you, and respect people, share with people, forgive the mistakes, etc. So that is my way to help. In these schools, as good as they are, they teach mostly technocracy, which is good. But technocracy is only a guide. Is only like in a plane, you know, to know at what altitude we are is okay. But that's not the way. It's only an instrument. And technocracy should only be an instrument to use from time to time. But it should not replace your instinct or your gut feeling. The instinct and the intuition, that is the real power of human being. Because when the artificial intelligence comes, and it will come soon, very soon even, there's only intuition, that an instinct that the artificial doesn't have. They can copy everything we know, all our normal intelligence, but the instinct, the nose, they cannot. So I say to these young students, okay guys, be careful. Don't lose your instinct. Don't become a technocrat and you cannot do anything anymore without your PowerPoint and your Excel and blah, and come on. You can also explain and keep your instinct. Be pragmatic. Be pragmatic. And that is something that I think where I can really help people to stay pragmatic and to keep your instinct and intuition. That's your real value. The value, you know, Einstein said, what's the value of an employee? And he said, you know, in my opinion, the value of a manager is the sum of all his mistakes he made in his career, together with all the experiences he did. That's the value. And then the guy said, yes, but what about what he learned and all the certificates? He said, that's just information. The real value is the sum of all the mistakes, because the mistake helps you to grow, and all his experiences. The rest is information. And that's what I say to the student.
Now, you're also very much involved in the Swiss Startup Factory, where you actually also advise, but I'm curious to know if you also invest in startups, kind of like what you're looking for.
Yes,
because, as you said, money is not everything, but it's one thing.
No, yes. Yeah, you always need a little bit of money, like luck.
Yes.
But luck and money you find when you start to move, because it comes when you move. I'm invested in the Swiss Startup Factory. I'm one of the shareholders, and I'm on the advisory board. I also help different charities, Action Innocence, that helps to eliminate pedophilia on the internet. I have also invested in saving the rhinoceros. Eventually, we'll do a foundation to promote artisans of the watchmaking art. We know very well the brands, but many brands, in many brands you have a certain number of artisans, the guy who engraves, or the enamel, or the setter, etc., that are quite unknown, but they are very useful because they enable us to climb to excellency. And these people, I want eventually to promote and to help them.
How did you sell your first watch?
I sold it by not selling it. I came to the shop and I had nothing to sell. The guy said, show me what you want me to sell, to buy. And I said, no, I want you to understand the philosophy. And let me explain the philosophy, and I come back next week with the product. And then you can buy.
And he bought.
And it was sold, yes, because he was curious, and I had a second appointment.
Yes.
And I sold it.
What would you say is your biggest regret?
None. No regret. I have had a life that was so privileged by health, by love, by passion, by success, by business, by money. God damn. If I would have a regret, God would kill me. No regret.
What would you define as success in life?
Sharing. To share makes rich. It's difficult to tell to people who have no money that sharing makes rich, but sharing makes rich. My biggest success is the people I have grown up thanks to sharing with them my knowledge, my visions, etc.
What would you say is your biggest fear?
My biggest fear is the health of my kids.
How are you balancing work and life?
I'm not balancing it. I am mixing it. In me, it's constantly together.
Yeah.
It's like in the Carnival of Venice. I have a mask on this side, and on that side I have one too, but both are the same.
See. How are you making sure to be a good leader?
Thanks to the doubt. I make sure that I'm right because I let the doubt come in. And the doubt knocks at my door and says, hey, Biver, yes, I'm here. Please double check. I said, fuck you, come on, let me alone. I know I'm right. No, you're not right. Get up and double check. And come back at 7 o'clock in the morning.
And then you check again?
And then at 3 o'clock in the morning, I get up and I check again. And thanks to the doubt, I am more or less right. To behave, have a moral attitude, because that's what we lack. And don't forget the song of the Beatles, all you need is love. And behave like that.
Yes.
All you need is love. Never forget.
Good, Monsieur Biver, thank you so much
Merci.
for being on the show
Thank
today.
you.
Thank you very much, everybody who stayed all the way till the end of episode 186 of the Startup Show. Make sure you stay a few more seconds so you see who is up next week, and I'll see you on Monday. Have a great day.
Hi everyone, my name is Christian Schaub. I'm CEO and co-founder of Red Biotech. Please stay tuned for the upcoming show next Monday, where we talk about Red Biotech, the Swiss life science ecosystem, about life science investments, about risk, and more importantly, about the opportunities in the space of life sciences.